Well, a very good morning, dear teammates, and welcome to this training about the Medallion Net and the Medallion Class app. My name is Guy, and I will be training you, helping you to leading the way and to give more information to our lovely guests. However, I have one first question for you, and that will be a question like, what is the most frequent question that you get when guests are coming on board when they board the ship? I'll give you some time to think about it, to come up with the answer. Okay, so let me know. Stephen, what do you think is the most common question? Wonderful. How to use the Medallion Class app. Indeed. Anybody else? Yes, indeed, Mark. Using the internet. How can I use the internet? That's absolutely right. So indeed. Now, I have an additional question for you. What is the impact on the guest experience if they don't know what they have to do for the Medallion Net and the Medallion Class app? Okay, Mike. Perfect. Indeed. So one of the things is a lot of frustration with the guests. So I'm going to write it down so that at least you know what can happen. Next, Philip. Perfect. Indeed. As you said, guests are not happy. They come to guest services. And they will, of course, they will talk about how they cannot be connecting to the outside world. Indeed. Disappointment. In order to solve this, this is where you come into the picture. And today, I will explain you in a few steps how to make that happen. And you will see our guests will be much more happy. So, what I will do now, I want you all to take your phones and we will show you how to put the settings correct. The first thing is, you go to your settings on your phone. You have seen I have a stylus pen. A stylus pen is always very easy, so that at least that you don't have to touch the phone of the guests themselves. First of all, settings. When you come to the settings, you have, of course, airplane mode. Put your airplane mode on, so it has to be green, so at least we know now that you are connected here on the airplane mode on board. Second of all, you have the Wi-Fi. Switch on your Wi-Fi, and then you will see that you have a Medallion Net coming up, so you click on that one to select that. Once you have selected this one, then your settings should be as good as done. Are you all with me? No questions so far? Perfect. Great. So, now that we have done this, we will close this and we will go now to the Medallion Class app itself. The Medallion Class app, which has this symbol, so Medallion Class with the princess logo on it, of course. There we go. And this is your basic screen. It is important that you tell the guests when they want to log in that they always log in on the small sentence that you see where it says that they can log in with their booking or their cabin number. Now, for the app to know that the guest is on board or at home, the important thing is that the guests log in with their room number. So as you see, first, it asks you a few personal questions. First name, last name, room number, not the booking number, room number, and the date of birth of the person who's logging into the app. Once you have done that, you will be able to see the whole app and all its features. So this is how you log in to the Medallion Class app. Now, has everybody logged in properly? I want to make sure that you know how to log into the app so that you can show this as well directly with your phone to the guests, and at least they will have less questions when it comes to logging in and when it comes to using the Medallion Net. One important thing about the Medallion Class app: you don't need the internet to use the app. The app works independently from the internet. Once you have it downloaded on your phone, you can go ahead with it. Questions? No? All right. So now I want to give you a few minutes. I want you to play around with the app so that at least that you can get familiar with it. Do not hesitate to raise your hand or to ask the question if you have doubts, if you get stuck on it. I will leave that to you. Play around with it, make mistakes. It doesn't matter. You can't do much wrong on the app. Just don't purchase anything. Okay, good. So I'll leave it now to you, and I'll be back with you in a few minutes. Anybody questions so far? No? Lovely. You're doing all great, I can see that. And it's nice to see that you're also engaged, so I love that. So really great job. Here we go. So, have you been able to find your way around a little bit? Yes. So there's a few things which are really interesting about the app. One of the most common things that guests will ask you is, where can I find my partner? How can I see where my partner is? Well, there is on the app, you have the possibility, you go to locate shipmates. So you scroll down, you locate shipmates, and when you click on that, just to mention as well that once you are staying in the same room, you automatically become shipmates. When you're not in the same room, you can add each other to become shipmates. You just need your first name, last name, and then you can add each other. But the other person has to give you permission to be added. Okay, so that's one of them. You can also book any type of excursion in all the ports of call. You can also book your dining, whether it is in the main dining room, whether it is in specialty dining. You can book that as well through the app. Another thing, very important. Does anybody want to give me another item that is important that you can see on the app? Indeed, Steve, indeed, your account. Because of course, guests want to know how much they are spending during the cruise. And when you click on Journey Account, automatically you will see how much you have been spending. Your onboard credits will be there, so you have a good overview of what is happening. So perfect. Any other suggestions? Yes, indeed. I forgot your name, I'm terribly sorry, but you have a very good point. So guests can also send messages to each other. There is the shipmates chat. The only thing is at this moment that you have to keep the chat open in order to receive notification that you have received a message. But it works perfectly. And at least if the guests don't have a way to use, for example, a chatting program here on board with the outside world, at least on board they can chat with each other as well. So the app works really perfectly. You can also see the safety essentials, which are very important on the first day of the cruise. So don't forget, you can show to the guests, first of all, this is your muster station. Then it will also tell you to watch the video. And then last but not least, it also tells you that you have to listen to the announcement, which is generally made by the captain. And he will tell you what to do in a real emergency and how the sounds are like when something happens for real, of course. Are we good so far? Great. Now the thing is that the app is always improving. So if you have guests who have suggestions, if you have guests who are asking, why can't I do this or why can't I do that? The app is in full development. So that means that every single time when there is a new update, and we get those regularly, the app becomes better and better. And automatically new features are added. other features are taken away, which are not very practical, but it always is a big improvement. And the guests generally will find out very fast when there is an update to the app, so at least you can help them with that as well. Any other questions? No? Well, this is just a basic introduction, but we will do an additional training on going into more specific things about the app, more specific items, more specific features that the app is doing for you. One of the other things, for example, I can mention as well, is that the guest can see which activities are taking place. And one of the great improvements that have been made on the app is basically that now you can just scroll down for the activities. Before it was horizontally, now it's scrolling down, and at least you can see it hour by hour, what time and where the activities are taking place. So it's a great feature and always improving. So don't be afraid to give suggestions, because every single suggestion is being sent to our office ashore, and they will then see if it is feasible, yes or no. Okay. All good for everybody? Wonderful. Great. No further questions? Really? I'm sure you will have questions afterwards. But you can always come and see me. If you have questions, do not hesitate. I'm always here available. So once again, I would like to thank you for showing up, and I was really impressed with your engagement, with your positivity. So make sure that at least you give this training to our guests, and don't forget, smile. Okay, have a lovely day. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.